What is today, guys? The 20th of January, 2021. Can you imagine?
It's a big day.
Hey, what a big day. What a big day. I have to be repping for my good friend Kamla. What a thing, girls. What a thing. But we're getting to that. I mean, just what a day. What a day. So, viewers, welcome. This is 3 for 3, the third episode of season 3, as we're waiting to be syndicated. So please catch us on YouTube while you can, because we're soon on Netflix. We're doing it again. For those of you tuning in for the first time, you can join us every Wednesday at what time? 8 p.m. right here. We're on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed to our page yet on YouTube, just stop right, and just go subscribe to it. Heidi, Ali, I see you. Hey, peeps. Hey, everybody. We are so glad to see you. Catherine alone is being seen now.
She was just like,
I've had enough of Rochelle. She's like, I'm so over her.
What just happened?
So, ladies, what's a historic day? What's a historic day for women, for Black people, for Jamaicans? We are representing at the White House. Look at we. A little bit of Jamaica, we're there everywhere. But one of the things is Kamala Harris, there's a quote that she has: while I may not be the first woman in office, I will not be the last. And I just think it's so powerful. It is so powerful that she's already reminding us about sending that elevator down, opening the doors, creating more seats at the table. And in fact, sometimes we have to create our own tables. So a historic day. We are really grateful to see what can happen in our lifetime. And sometimes, as we're going through the day and we forget that we are living in history. So, when we get old and we teeth them get loose and it may be the teeth them in a one cup, we will sit with our grandchildren and we will talk about this time that we lived through, and they will be in awe that we experienced. But better than that, they'll be in awe that there was a time that this was something that was celebrated, because it will be the norm. It will be, that will be
the norm. Yes.
Yeah. So
I love that for us, Rochelle.
Yes. I see Marcia, I see Lorraine, Lady D. Please tell us where you are hailing from. Whether or not you're in Jamaica, America, the rest of the Caribbean, we just like to identify where our peeps are.
And also let us know if it's the first time that you're joining Emerge for Essentials Live.
Oh my goodness. Nice. Something is happening on Saturday. What's happening?
You always talk about that. Okay, guys.
So well.
So, guys, for those of us who don't know, I know a lot of our emergers already know, because we've had almost 300 people sign up for this event on Saturday. We're going to be hosting our first virtual workshop for the new year, and it is reclaiming your 2020 and emerging into 2021. It's a virtual workshop with myself, Rochelle, and Catherine, and it is fully sponsored, or I'd say 100% discounted by our sponsor, Sagicor. And they're so invested in your growth that they wanted to ensure that everybody had access to this virtual workshop for free. We're going to be sharing, we're going to be doing a couple of things, but we're really going to be looking back on the year that was 2020. It was a very important year. We want to do some reverse journey mapping. We want to look at how can we reclaim that 2020 as we emerge into a brand new year full of opportunities and possibilities. So we're going to be touching on all kinds of different areas as we go through the workshop. It's going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's virtual. You're going to get an amazing workbook that you can go through the steps on your own, or as we go through as well, but something that you can take away and do some additional work to help you get ready, and not just get ready, but really emerge into 2021. So all you have to do is follow us on Ready to Emerge on Instagram. Click the link in our bio and it takes you straight to the registration page. The thing is, we are closing registration tonight at midnight, because now we need to start communicating with those that had subscribed to the workshop. so that we can send you your toolkit that includes your webinar workbook. So remember, if you're interested in the workshop, sign up tonight before midnight, because we close the doors at midnight tonight. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a really great way to kickstart this 2021 as we emerge into this new season of expectation.
Yes. And for some of you, as you hear about these workshops that we're reflecting and we're looking forward and goal setting, sometimes it feels a little overwhelming, because you're just like, I can't bother with no more right now. I'm just try to make a grocery list. I'm just try to get the budget for balance. This workshop, because we open up to you about our issues, how we have been able to get through the tools we use. So what you will find is that we are all so much more alike than we think. And you'll be able to take whatever is the size of it that you can manage. So you may take bite-sized pieces and you say, I want to work on this particular area. Some of us are overachievers and we want to work on a bunch of things. But what we're saying is do things at your own pace and do what's right for you. And we will share with you our toolkits, the things we have learned, the things we are learning, and some of the stuff we are working on. So we're going to be doing this together. Marcia,
and we also want to make it very fun, very interactive, very engaging. So we're going to bring you guys on screen throughout the workshop as well, so that we can really hear from you what's happening, and you can share your experiences as we all emerge together. So it's going to be pretty fun. We're very, very excited about it.
And I know when you hear that you have to come on screen, some of you are like, Jesus, I'm going to pull me here. Pull me here and put on a little lipstick. But if you don't want to, you can also turn off your camera. But for those of you who want to just come on so that we can share and you can ask your questions, and we can also, you can share your experiences. Because you know what, we realize that when we bring all of this energy together, there's a movement. And we start holding each other accountable. And we start even subconsciously and spiritually just thinking of each other as we're growing together. So let's do this together. It's more, Loretta is here from London.
Again, we love Loretta. And we have Althea joining us from New York City.
New York City! So guys, what an exciting evening this evening. We just have to kind of jump in other things, because...
Yeah. But we have to do our intros too, right?
Huh?
Are we?
Introduce yourselves.
Remember, we can't assume that everybody knows who we are. Everybody knows who our guest is.
They don't know who we are.
They may not know who we are. So, but guys, I'm going to jump right in. So we like to start off by just doing a quick reintroduction of ourselves for people who are experiencing Emerge and experiencing us for the first time. So my name is Naomi Garrick. I am a personal branding coach, also known as a PR chick, and I'm the founder of Garrick Communications, a boutique PR agency right here in Jamaica. And essentially what I do is I help individuals and brands to really position, package, and promote their brand to the rest of the world. So I help brands to stand out in a noisy world.
Thank you, Nai. Hi, everybody. I'm Kathy Goodall, and I am a connector of brands, businesses, and people. I am a leadership coach, and I'm a part of the Emerge Trio. Welcome.
Is Rochelle frozen, or she's...
No.
Yes? No? I think she is. All right. So we're going to... Rochelle is the one that always has the intro with flair. I'm not even going to attempt to introduce our next guest. I'm going to leave that to Rochelle. So we'll wait till she comes back on screen.
There she is.
Oh, there she is.
So like when the internet, like something goes wrong and you disappear, and you're like, no.
So Rochelle, before you even go, I see Marcia made a comment. You might have to give the guest a timepiece. Our guest has been very on time. He's backstage, folks. You just can't see him yet. He's been online since 15 minutes to the hour. So he is absolutely ready to go.
Yeah, because we're actually we have our green room.
Yeah, we have our green room. He's in the green room, guys. Waiting and watching.
So my name is Rochelle Cameron. I'm actually an attorney at law, and I run a boutique business development firm that offers impactful strategies for legal, human resources. I'm very into people development, and for crisis communications, because lawyers always deal with the crisis. And guess what? Every morning that I get up, I'm excited to do what I do because I love what I do. And then on a Wednesday evening, I get to do what I do with you. And tonight we have a very, very exciting guest. I know people have tuned in from all over. I see Richard here from Toronto. I love Toronto. So let me give you a story. There's a hill in Jamaica called Mountain Spring that people, when they're exercising, they walk vigorously up Mountain Spring. Some make it halfway and die, others roll down, and a few of them actually make it up the hill. And in my Mountain Spring days, I had some challenging Mountain Spring days. I always recall a gentleman. Now, Mountain Spring people, when them come, them tend to not dress up in them full workout gear. So them just have on like some ordinary sneakers and tea. And then you have this one guy will come a Mountain Spring, deck out, boot, outfit, deck out. You would have all seen him in a shade. I said, who the brother then? What did a brother there? But me like when people just go with them ears, I need to know who that brother there. Found out this guy is the famous, the one and only PP Philip Palmer. Now some of you may know him from the Uzimi gear. You remember them time there?
I had lots of Uzimi gear. As a matter of fact, I feel like there was a period where that's all you wore. You just got the retro looking style, you got the different color combinations, like
yeah,
I
had the ring
PP is a full mood. Yeah. Remember Osmosis, Yosh, Cabana City. I know a lot of people had their pretty outfits in mind for this Christmas. No complimentary tickets could have been given away. You couldn't even ask him for none because you did a keep. You know him from Dream, you know him from Sonation. There are actual songs that PP's name is in. That's the kind of guy. Some of us didn't know about Ibiza. Is Ibiza pronounced? We see PP down there. So we see PP on Instagram at some places. I remember one time I saw him in the airport. Who knows where he was going? And let me tell you, Gucci from head to toe to his toe them. And you see the Gucci bag, the Gucci luggage. And when you draw a little regular bag, you're just like, one day I'll be PP. Kathy calls him man of the world, and he truly is a man of the world. And I think one of the amazing things is that he blends his personality, his style, he brings his whole self. And like him or not, you will not forget him. He is the consummate entertainer, but he is also the new look of business that we are seeing emerging. He is the foundation of the new look of business. So PP is making strides. He's foundation. He's been through so many different looks and feel and time, and now managing director of SN Promotion Company Limited, as well as founder of PPSLCO. And I know there's a lot of people getting stuff to unbox from him. We're not getting on. But today, we get a chance to go behind the fashion, the entertainment, and whether or not we call him PP tonight, Euro PP, man of the world, he is Philip Palmer, and he is certainly blowing
I've never owned a Gucci bag in my life. Doesn't make you think watch it, that's a lie. I've never owned a Gucci bag. But I tell you, Big Mac, when you bring back Sting, you need Rochelle to introduce. I've never owned a Gucci bag. Never.
Welcome, Philip.
Hi, listen, already in the chat, people are like, legend.
Yeah.
Do you guys really know what you're doing? Like, Rochelle, I can understand you. We don't know each other that closely. You say I was wearing a Gucci bag. I don't wear I know knows me very well, and they know that this year could go very left. And this could be your final episode. You might not make it. After
We
this.
are so grateful that you could join us today. I know you are a busy guy and you could be so many different places. And today we get an opportunity for our viewers to get to understand you a little bit more. And I'm sure everybody, you will leave them with some bit of nugget. So tonight we get to share with you. So welcome, PP.
Thank you. Like, seriously, I normally dodge situations like this. I'm not one for these interviews and talk and what have you. But I mean, when the dynamic duo, Naomi and Kathy, corner me, you know, I couldn't wiggle out of it. I remember one of my first Osmosis is like Naomi was there helping with the decorations.
With decor, PP, me and Keisha.
Right, on the step and all. Yeah, so you know, based on that, and to be honest, COVID, this is a time that we need to be unselfish. You know, that's the only way to get past this.
Yes.
And I'll not be selfish and keep my experiences and what I've learned over the period to myself. So I think it's a noble cause as well. You know?
We appreciate you, Philip. Thank you so much. So, Philip, so everybody heard this intro with all these things. We spoke about Uzimi, which I mean, if you don't have a Uzimi shirt, I feel like Uzimi needs a comeback at this stage.
In the pipe.
Yeah, good. Uzimi, Osmosis, Yush, Cabana City, Dream Entertainment, so much more. But a lot of people don't actually know your journey. A lot of people probably don't know that you started off in engineering and working with your family business. Some people may not even know about Uzimi and be like, what is that? Or the bottle parties that you used to have. There's so much, and there's so much more even behind all of that from the business sense and what you're doing right now. And we're going to touch on some new things that PP's into as well as we go along. Yeah. But start from the beginning, Philip. Tell us about your journey. Maybe you can start from Woolmaz. I don't know.
Woolmaz, yeah. Woolmaz, I wasn't really popular for anything, really. I was never the best footballer. I made the squad though. I was never the best. I was never the fastest athlete. But I was a people person. While I wasn't the biggest in stature like I am now, I was very good with carding. When you go Woolmaz, you have to card. You have to carry jokes. I was good with giving jokes and carding people, and then, you know. And I was always the person that everybody wanted to be around. Whether the joke is on them or it's on me, it's always a good time. So from Woolmaz, I think I got kicked out of lower 6, ended up at XZ.
Wait, how does one get kicked out of 6th form?
Over classes.
Okay.
That usually helps.
Yeah. So I then went
don't follow that example.
I went to XZ, which was like a whole new world for me. Like seriously. So I'm going from Woolmaz all boys school, just start hang around 6th form girl here and there and what have you. And then I go to XZ Community College, and that's where most people go before they get to UER UTech. And it's a full co-ed institution, and every Friday was a fete in the gym. Why do you think I turned out like this? Like, it's a fete every Friday. So that was a whole new different life for me, because a lot of you wouldn't know, but I'm a church boy. My father was a pastor when he was alive. My aunt, that I will touch on later, Bishop Carmen Strutt, she's obviously and my mother is a doctor in theology. So I was born in the church. I usually play the drum for the choir. So, right, really coming up the PPS, you know, I was a good church boy, you know, good church, you know. Yeah.
And then
spirituality is another episode. Back on.
So tell us.
So that was that life, and then so after there were summer jobs that I would never I could never return at summer to the same job. Like after one, I'm like, that's a farmer, you know, we like Philip, with some people and new opportunities. So changing summer jobs, you know. But with that is how I got to know a lot of people. So I had my Woolmaz crew, I had my youth crew. Summer jobs, every summer job, in another job, meeting new people. And then, like, there was one summer, I couldn't get a job, you know what I mean? And my friends were like, yo, why we don't put a party? And like them times that I was like, what? Yeah, I was youth tech at the time. I'm sorry, I say, yeah, I'm a hot boy youth tech, and I came to tell well them, and you know the vet Kevin Walker, the vet, yeah, yeah. We were like, they were all by you and would link up all the time, and they were like, yo, let me put a party on together. And I'm like, all right. And my first party was Gravity. It was so nerdy. Don't know we came up with that name. Like Gravity Wiki. From that event, we made $10,000 each. And I never tried to look for a job again. I was like, yo, FUBU. Yo, my stuff was lit. It was lit. So that was my first introduction into event that was like a real investment.
Yes.
But what Naomi would have alluded to, like for my birthdays, I will always have like bottle parties. And then like Colette Morrison would always have it by her house at Beverly Hills.
Yes, could never get any parking space. Everybody parking precariously on the side of the hill.
So it would be like 300-400 persons from birthday. And Colette was like, P, you know, if you like charge $100 with the bottle, you could make money. And I said, you think people would pay? And I said, of course. And they did it. And I did it and they paid. And then after college, I mean, I'd worked with my family business and it gave me the opportunity. While I didn't really love engineering because I wanted to leave the work site and get back to Kingston to see Naomi, Keisha, and the Hot Girl crew. You know, I wasn't wanted to be working on the generator and anything like that. So after that, but it gave me the opportunity where I could earn, I could learn it as not a different way of thinking from the average person, if I could call pure person's average. And also it gave me an opportunity to experiment with events, you know?
Yeah.
And then after a while, the events just came around. I come back from University at Tampa, we link up, we do Yosh, we have a buzz, then we go from Yosh, and then Osmosis was, and Yosh was head, and Dean come and say, yo, Osmosis, come on, let me do it. So he was always pushing me to like build a brand, and that was Osmosis, Yosh, and then we got the call from the boss, Solomon Sharp, to say, you know, you guys, all on the sit down. Leave your egos at the door. Let us make a dream team. And big up Matthew Tahmuda, it was at his house. Matthew was very integral in that. And then that's how Dream came about. And from Dream, I mean, Dream has done so much for all of us as directors. I mean, everybody in Dream has built other businesses around events as well. And Dream came about. And then I was always low-key in love with soca, you know what I mean? But them days, yeah, punky like soca, you know? But I would always tiptoe and Ollie draw me and carry me go through the lab and like, oh, this is lick them girl, yeah. And then I love soca, like Trinidad, geez. Yeah, that's my second home, like Trinidad, I love Trinidad. Trinidadians put on the board, on the live, big up for myself. That's my second home. And then from that, I mean, I came back and I would always support like Andrew Bellamy. He had I Love Soca. At the time, I Love Soca, you could keep at Village and some smart one. I was like, and Bellamy was like, P, see in Trinidad, you know, I know you're real and live the soca thing, although you're going like, yeah, rude boy now. No, I'm gonna say, you know what, Bellamy? And I said, God, when we're done with Dream and them little thing there, we'll keep a soca party.
Yeah.
And then he called me one day and said, yo, P, and he said, P, we need to do it. We need to do a breakfast party. And I'm like, for real, you know that Jamaica don't really have one. And I'm like, all right, next year. And he said, no, like in 2 weeks. And I said, 2 weeks?
Whoa.
In 2 weeks time? And he said, yes, PP. I feel if we don't do it, somebody else going to do it. I'm like, oh, Jesus. I'm like, let me see. Well, at the time, Bellamy had a big pull on the campus in terms of Caribbean students and all of that. And I was mainstream, uptown, midtown, what have you. And I said, the only way we could pull this off, we need the older crowd, you know? And I said, we were at Susie's Bakery, and then
You call it old?
the older crowd. I never say it was old.
Who is in the older crowd? Who is in the older crowd? What's that?
The older crowd would be.
When we consider the partners, he's clearly
They're older than Naomi.
Yeah, don't get yourself in any pickle with the older crowd.
Exactly. You know, the more discerning crowd then, put it that way, you know? So I was like, if Ali will come on board, this can work. Because we'd have locked the three corners. University, mainstream, and right. The crowd.
The crowd, right. Just say the crowd.
I introduced them at Susie's Bakery. Ali didn't know who Bellamy was. Bellamy knew who Ali was. And then that was it. The first breakfast party had 300 persons, half of the persons in Juve, coming from Juve.
Yep,
Get up and I'm like,
that is right.
You gotta look pretty or what? And then it is what it is.
That was a tiring activity.
Best party of the season.
But that was the at Constant Spring, right?
Yep.
Yes.
I think I was working with Appleton at the time for PR, and we left whatever event that was, that Juve event, and came right over. Wow.
Yes.
That was a lot.
That sparked all the brands. Cabana City, well, you know, Osmosis started out as a house party, and it rolled into a big, massive event. It was our version. Our aim was to give the middle class who could not afford like a Frenchman experience, you know. So it was very affordable, but there was a lot of work that had to go into it. Like being in Germany and big up myself, like whole heap of nights. I was tired of meetings, which is maybe why I don't like meetings though. But that was what it, and then we developed an exclusive area in Osmosis called Cabana City. And I'll tell you how that came about. And it's funny you talk about Ibiza and Mykonos, but I was blessed that my eldest brother, I'll talk about him later, he moved to Hungary at a very young age. He was brilliant. You know, he went to Columbia University. Then he went over he got another scholarship to a Hungarian university to do his master's. So that's how half of my family is in Europe. So from a young age, I was always going to Europe, and then I had the opportunity to like Ibiza, Mykonos, all of these places. And I was going there, and I realized that everywhere, because I mean, you know, you're in Jamaica, you think Miami is the greatest thing ever. And I'm realizing that Europe is so far ahead. You know, Americans follow Europeans. You know,
Yes.
I was going there, and I realized that everybody had like big parties. Like I was so lucky to hang out, have footballer friends in London, and like every Jamaican who go play football in London and say, PPSLCO, link up. And then I would meet their friends, and then when I go to Ibiza, like I would see them, and then I would be in the VIP, and the cabana was a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
In the cabana, like girls outside, everybody used to come over. Bagging. And it was just the place to be, and I'm like, guys. And I came back to Dean, and Dean was like, yo, let's try it. I mean, we were like now, you can't have a party without a cabana.
Without a cabana, yeah.
People that start having tables and cabanas, and so Cabana City developed. And then the thing with myself, and this is maybe why I'm still relevant today. I love young people. You know, I'm very immature. Let me say I'm a late bloomer, right? So I'm always hanging out with the younger persons, and I realized that I still like persons always want to partner with me. And then Zimmy and Chad and them came about and then say, yo, you know, we have a weekend for the younger group. And I'm like, yeah, and then weekend at Jamaica came about. So it's just that, and it's just been rolling from one to the next to the next. So that's been my life in entertainment.
That's really impressive, Philip. Like, I mean, first of all, I didn't even remember that you guys were the ones to really introduce that cabana lifestyle to parties. And I don't think a lot of people know that. And as you said, no, you can't have a party and not have a cabana option, right? People like to feel special and want to be treated like VIPs and get all that extra treatment. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to know. Say it again.
You're going to get a commission for every cabana sale.
You should. You actually should. You really should. I think you need to reach out when things go back to?
But on events, I have to big up Frenchmen. I remember growing up and going to Frenchmen in Frenchman school in Portland. And I was like, wow. And at the Reggae Beach. And Brian Millingen would always tease me about this. I remember there was one occasion where the fireworks was going off. Sometimes I keep glasses. And Brett one came and hugged me up and said, look at the fireworks, boy! I just said, boy, one day you'll get here. And I'm glad he hugged me up because I did, you know? But I have to mention Frenchmen, standard, like persons, and I don't like when persons come and say, boy, university, no. It's never a competition. Frenchman is what I grew up on. Frenchman is what set the standard. And anything I do today came from that, you know? And my trips to Europe, it was French, you know? That was a standard. I remember Frenchman January, it would be like in Russell Heights. And not only the execution, when you went to that house party, and you had to, if you didn't have a ticket, you have to wait outside and hope you see somebody with a ticket that would sell it. And when you go in there, it was like Hollywood. I don't know these people. Where are they coming? Like,
Where did they live?
Who are these people? It was like Hollywood. So if any other Frenchmen are on board, big up on themselves. Like, you have really guided my pathway in terms of standard and execution.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I know you have done the same even with Sunrise Breakfast Party. You guys were the first.
Yeah.
It is definitely one of, I mean, I don't really go as much as I used to, but that is definitely the event that I would choose to go to on New Year's Day, to the point where I had so much fun that PP had to call me to tell me that he had my driver's license because it was found at the party.
And then I'm like, no, you don't. Oh, you do.
Yeah, so it's a great party. It's a great party. Can't wait for it to come back. I think when the place opens up, we just need to have all the parties in one, like just a whole 2 weeks of just events.
Festival.
So PP, a lot of people know you from this entertainment space, right? Which is great. As Rochelle said, you're mentioned in songs and everything. It's a big deal. But at your core, though, what I'd love to know, what are some of the things that are most important to you? Like, what do you value the most?
Family for sure, because as you realize, I don't post a lot of my family. Yeah, and friends, because a lot of my friends are like family. And I may get a little bit emotional because I really had a rough 2020 where family is concerned. And this is part of the reason why I want to share, you know. So if I get a little cracky, you can understand why.
That's okay.
On family, so I'm coming back from Trinidad February. Sunrise Breakfast Party Trinidad, fire. Like everybody, yo. And I'm planning the rest of my year. And I'm like, yo, we're going to here, we're going to Toronto, we're doing this, we're doing that. Who did we lose?
Catherine, she's in the background, so continue. Jump on.
Yeah. And so I'm coming into Jamaica and I'm like easing in and I'm like, yeah, time for Coco Juve. And I hear about this COVID thing. I'm like, anyway, by June this done with or by whatever. I never really take it serious. And then boom, COVID is a reality. And there are numerous evenings and my world just stopped. And I had to be boxing myself. Is this really happening? Really happening? So like for a couple months, I was like in a daze, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My aunt who I grew up with, like who's my second mother, she passed away and was buried in July. You know, so that's the Honorable Bishop Dr. Carmen. She passed away. So we buried her in July. My brother who was spoke of, who is a shepherd in Europe, he went swimming and drowned in August. So that's July, I buried my aunt. My brother died in August. And this happened, and there's only one party I don't like, and it's a pity party. So I didn't really post it a lot. The time I would spend answering people what happened, I could be talking to my family, you know? So I kept that to myself. Actually, when I heard the news, me, Duke, Serrani, and them was somewhere on a catamaran in Negril. But we were hosting some friends, and I got the news on the catamaran. And I had to hold it together. And, you know, in life, like, you really need cheerleaders, you know?
Yeah.
Like, them guys were there for me. There was not one weekend that I left me by myself, you know? So, sorry. Jesus. Yeah. I promised that I wasn't good. This wasn't going to happen. But, and then, so that happened in July, August. And then October, my mom, who is a senior citizen, fell and broke her hip. So
Oh
I
no.
had emergency hip surgery. So that was just one after the other after the other. I mean, not to mention no income from what is my majority
Right.
of proceeds coming in, and just having to figure out stuff and dealing with this sudden stuff. I was still in shock. You understand?
Yeah.
So all of these things were happening. I'm like, what the hell is this? And I'm gonna say, you need cheerleaders around you. You need people that are cheerleaders. And you know, big up my friend Yendizel. Yendi called me, and Yendi said, "P, what's going on?" I said, "Me there," and she said, "I hear what's going on." I said, "Yeah," and she said, "Well, let me tell you something. If there was ever, no, when she came to me first, I was like, because I held it together for most of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, one of the most emotional times I've had since, I mean, in the whole ordeal. And so I was like, you know me, this is a part of life and it has to happen. So there are a lot of times you hear about your friends, parents dying or brother dying. And this is just my time for that to happen because it's a part of life. So I was very mature about it. But then Yendi said something that blew me away. She said, Philip, do you realize how blessed you are? I said, why you say that? She said, listen, if there was ever a time for you to deal with the three tragedies that happened, it was a time that you had time to be there for your family.
Yes.
So can you imagine if I had Yosh,
Yes.
Osmosis, cabana, planning Exodus, blah, 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 and dealing with all of this, I would have had a total meltdown.
Yeah.
But with all of
Absolutely.
that, I mean, Yendi, I don't know if you watch it, but Yendi, but God, pick up yourself. Like, I don't know where she came with that, and that is what just helped me going forward. It was like, but it was a rough year. It was a rough year, and then with all of that, it's just a blessing. Again, have people that, so not people that hang with you, You need
Yeah.
to have people that cheering for you. You know what it is when, like Sirani is telling me every day, P, it's you. So what are you talking about? Listen, we can't do this project if you don't do it. If not you, who? If not now, when? And I'm like, yo, like, I know people rate me, but like, Duke is like P. And Duke's story is another one. Like, Duke is a typical uptown guy with a Florida accent. Yeah. Still.
Wait, pause, because me have to defend him.
Is their cousin.
Leave him.
But he's here a while and he has a Florida accent.
Born and raised in America. Just remember that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But I mean, and Duke is an amazing, amazing talent. Like he's Jamaican. He's Jamaica's Drake. Like honest to God. Like you don't know.
I love that. Can you hear
He's
that?
an amazing talent. Like, when you talk about Shaggy, Sean Paul, I feel like in 2 years, you're going to be saying Dukey. 100%. 100%.
If he takes it seriously.
Like, no, and this.
I
And
think he's ready. I think he's ready now.
If I take this seriously, because I think already, like you just said, but I'm a little corporate image. And I'm like, dude, Shaggy and Sean Paul don't seem to be doing too bad. The world is stopping and giving you an opportunity to be great. And you're there talking about corporate. Like, I don't want to see corporate, you know what I mean? And I'm like, dude. And he's like, see, if you come with me, I'm going to do it. And I say, all right, I'm coming.
Wow.
And I don't know if I could segue now. No, I won't segue there yet. But like, and then, so there was that group of guys. And of course, there's always Dean, the Kevin, the chair. And my General Ali, my mentor, always there for me, always. Like at one point, I like even before the death, like there was one night, I was such in shock. And I called Ali and I'm like, dude, what's my life coming to? Like, because what had happened is that my life slowed down so much, and I'm like, yo, only I'm not spending enough time with my mother.
Yeah.
All of this thing, and I'm like, shit. I'm like, what have you been doing? Yo, I've been going so fast, and for COVID, I got so much done with family. Like I renovated my mom's house in all of this, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's beautiful, Philip. That's really awesome.
You're like a gift from heaven. Alicia, amazing job with the house. And like when I was there going through, like Hassan pulled me one side and said, P, you realize, and sometimes it takes great difficulty to realize the strength.
Yes.
And it was like, P, you realize that within all of this, boom, you launch back PPSL, boom, you renovate your mother house, boom, you're going in music business, boom, you have another somewhere project that you work on, boom, and now we're going to Tampa with Dream. Like, dude, like, if that was 2020, if you don't have 3 more persons dying, 2021 could be explosive, you know?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that. But I understand what you're saying.
These are the people that I have around me, and I have to give thanks for the friends that are family. So that's why I said family is most important. That was the question, right?
So one PP, we our hearts really go out to you and your family. I mean, we certainly had no idea, and our condolences to all of you. And you really, as you said, who would have known? You really.
Well, I think
we had no idea.
I'm not really for the pity party thing. Like my brethren them know, my family know, and it was good time to like share my family. Listen,
Right.
Novia called me, like, Novia, big up, you're my boss. Like, Novia never calls me. Like, I call Novia. Novia called me and said, P, and I think since that I've formed such a good bond with her, like a rater, like a
She's
big
the best.
boss.
She's the best. I know she's watching. She asked for the link earlier.
And she has done, like, seriously, she has done so much. Like Novia makes little Jamaican see the social setting seems so first world, And I don't think a lot of people realize what Novia has done for social lives there and why A-listers would want to come to Jamaica. So, somebody that I've always appreciated and as would say rate from afar. And this COVID season got me closer to her. So Novia, big up.
So PP, I'm glad you mentioned that whole thing about having your cheerleaders, and we always speak to having that circle of genius, those people around you that support you, that are the people that matter. So I'm really happy that you had that team behind you during this time, and that they're still with you and they're pushing you. Yeah. And we have our workshop coming up this weekend, and one of the really things we're going through is 2020, because as much as it was a tragic year, it did allow a lot of us to slow all the way down, to really focus on the things that matter and spend time with the people that matter.
Yes.
So I'm really glad you were able to do that. I mean, it's so awesome that you're able to renovate your mom's house, and to just spend more time with those people. Because as people are talking in the comments, yes, they see you on social media and you're living this big life, but nobody knows what's happening behind the scenes.
Nobody said, I'm your boss. I think she said that.
Yeah, she said, I'm your boss.
That's my boss.
Yep.
Yeah, and Kate says, I've always seen PP on social media, meme, but listening to him.
But persons who know me closely, they know that I'm a family, and that's part of life. I keep the private.
Yeah. So what I would want to know, Philip, is how do you define success? What does success mean to you?
All right. Success to me, like my personal life, I think subconsciously or maybe consciously, I made a decision that my life, like, I just want to be happy. And that's where I was for most of my life. If you notice the word happy has PP in it, so.
I noticed a lot of things. You said people pleaser earlier, and I was like, that's PP.
Yeah, happen, make it happen. So that's what it comes from. It's not gonna be happening if PP ain't in it, you know what I mean? So so always say, so people would come to me, and I'll give you a story. All right, so I had an interesting conversation with a lady I met on a boat. I was going out Morgan's Hab and I went on a yacht. Random trip. I was there sitting on the boat and I said, this hot biscuit of a woman, biscuit. I'm like, whoa, never see her before in my life. And I'm there, you know, just chilling and watching. And then I see she make eye contact with me. I'm like, all right, P, think I'm doing anything up there, yeah. And then she smiled and came over to me. And I'm like, bagging so easy. I'm like, bagging. And then she came over and she looked at me straight in my eye and she said, you need to be great. You need to come out your comfort zone and be great. And I'm like, what? And she's like, I don't know you, but you have a spirit and you have a persona and you have a presence that you should be somebody great. And she said, who are you? And I'm like, she's like, what's your name? She Googled me right in front of me. And she looked through and she said, listen, you need to be doing more. You're too comfortable. You need to get uncomfortable and be great. And I answered and I said to her, the acquisition of power doesn't necessarily lead to happiness. You can be powerful, you can be great, but that don't mean you're going to be happy. Yeah. And for most of my life, I chose happiness. So if I'm happy, man. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many persons you can think about now who built a dynasty, passed away, but they didn't enjoy life.
Yeah. Yes.
I've enjoyed life, trust me. Like, I could write a book, I may do so, but trust me, like, I feel that if you're happy, you're happy. Like, it's like when people ask me about marriage and being single. I mean, if I find somebody that at minimum entry will make me happy as I am single, I'm in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that has been me. But with everything that happened this year and with the people around me, and when you have people saying, Philip, come on, you can do this. We need your PP. I've had Chad Williams is a special fellow, but Chad is very quiet. And when Chad can look at me and say, PP, I need you for this. We need you. Like, people don't say that to me a lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think those guys showed me that I had another 40% to add on to the 60 that I'm at. I've always been at 65. Even
you have value, PP. You have value.
Yeah, so I made it, and so, I mean, needless to say, with the girl,
the biscuit,
I never saw her again. Like, that shit was creepy. No one looked into
like, she just was there to give you this message.
No, I was the first one off the boat. Why I don't want to be around somebody who can look into my soul?
Hey, my church boy, that should have been your reaction.
Killer energy. But I was the first one off the boat. And my friends were like, yo, where you going? Some soul come. I was like, I haven't met this girl number. I've never seen her since. But I think she's and I don't remember your name, but you have impacted my life. You know what I
mean?
Wow.
That's an amazing story. So, Philip, we talked about all the different industries that you've been in, your ability to pivot, to start over, because you've done so many businesses, but you started so many new businesses along the way, right? You keep creating new things. You talk about inspirations from all over the place that you've traveled, but what gets you out of bed in the morning that gives you that fire? What keeps you motivated? What drives you?
What really drives me? It's a simple question, but I've never really thought about it. I mean, I love energy. I love people. And just the daily interaction. I mean, when Wednesday come, you live. Well, Jamaica is such a beautiful place to live in. Like, you live and you feel like when you reach Wednesday is the weekend. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that just energy to be around people, to face a new challenge. I love solving challenges. Like, whenever I'm not challenged at an event and it gets easy, I don't want to do it again. You know, I get bored. I like challenges. So I think just meeting different people, and especially now since COVID, like, yo, don't mess around. Everybody has gotten sharp since COVID. Everybody has gotten deep. And let me tell you something. Be yourself. Because now people sniffing out fake people like it's Miyake Cologne. Like, yo, if you're fake, they're like, yo, that guy got the real. Like, yo, like real is the new cool. It's cool to be real right now. You know, watch the same movies, reading the same books. Like, just be yourself. And I know you're going to ask me about what are my lessons in life and like what somebody taught me. Somebody said to me one time, they said, Philip, it's important. You will always have good people around you because you are yourself. Are you not ashamed to be who you are? You're happy to be the big man, party boy, promoter, businessman, whatever. And because your energy is so real, it's going to attract real people around you. If you have an energy that's fake, you will always have fake people around you. You'll always attract fake people.
Wow.
So like, I learn a lot from people. I learn a lot from life. I love to see like just daily interaction, like going to an event and I see those grimy guys trying to swindle like armbands and sell back. And I talk to them like, come on guys, what we doing here? Like, don't let me get gangster on you. Like, and then there's a PPEs and I like people. Like, it's funny. Like, people have to hustle, you know what I mean? But you know, my event. Yeah, but you know, but I really like energy. I'm an energy person. Like, I'm not driven by goals. I'm driven by energy. You know, there are times that I frustrate poor Dean. He will come to me with a million ideas, and then I just get up one day and say this, and we'll do it. And then Dean says, "Listen, there's one thing with people, you can't force them to decide. Like energy, and that's how I am with persons. I don't need to know what you did in the past and what you used to do, and if you were in jail one time or what. If your energy good, it's good, you know. And if your energy is bad, I'm messing with you. You know what I mean?
Well, that same energy now has helped you to again pivot and to move into an industry or an area of an industry that you have never done before. Music. Tell us about that project.
All right, music. All right. I don't know how we all came together because we're 4 different persons. And I'm talking about Chad Williams, very special youth. Very quiet, but very sharp, you know. Sirani, intense. Like, you all know Sirani. He's no 99, he's 100 all the time, intense. And Duke, very unassuming, but he's a beast. That boy is a beast. Lethal. Very unassuming. So we have very different personalities, and we just ended up hanging out together. Like, I think how it started out, like, me and Chad never really hung out together. Like, he came to Trinidad, and you know Trinidad was a second home, so we hung out in Trinidad, and he got to see a different side of Trinidad, right, Chad? And then I guess coming back from Trinidad, we got close, so we started hanging out, and then Duke hung out with Chad, but Duke was always Kimani cousin to me, you know what I mean? And then Sirani I knew from high school days, and Sirani usually did my dub plates, and he would always talk, but you know, him always come to me, Pete, you need to get in the music business. All I'm on like you. You know, but I mean, it was part of the intensity that got the group together, and I'll tell you, like, Somewhere in Jamaica project, and I mean, to go into it, it's a song and video that will be launched in the next 2 weeks. It's called Somewhere in Jamaica, and it's a song for Jamaica. I mean, if there was any reason I would want to go into music business, this project, and you will see why. I showed you some snippets of the video.
We got the sneak preview.
Let me tell you, it's a special song. It's what Jamaica needs right now, and it is Jamaica. When you see the video, you're gonna be so connected to it. But in that, I don't want to talk it up too much. But we ended up hanging out, and like everybody would come to my house on Saturday, and we just eat. Everybody would jump in them vehicle and we just drive out and say, "Where we go? Somewhere in Jamaica." And we literally would just hit the highway. And if we end up in Ochi, we end up in Ochi. And if we end up in Mobe, we end up in Mobe with Dr. Skip. Yo, big up the Casablanca crew. Jimmy, Mikey, like, we made so many friends. Like, there's people who you see every day, but not really rock with them and talk to them. And Mobe is such a cool place. I love Mobe. Like, Mobe, I'd live there. But like, it's such a special place, you know? And I fell in love with Montego Bay again. I went, like, we literally just picked somewhere and we went somewhere, you know. So Surani was always putting this thing somewhere in Jamaica, and I think at the time he was working on a project, Conspiracy Theory, and it was like, I mean, Conspiracy Theory was such a deep song. And I was like, dude, honestly, I don't want to wake up and sing Conspiracy Theory. No. And Surani going to kill me. Yeah, bro, I know it's doing a lot of hits, but I don't like it. So I'm like, yo, why we don't do this? Got somewhere in Jamaica. This is what we do every weekend. We go somewhere in Jamaica, you know? And people always, where you guys are at? I'll be like, somewhere in Jamaica. It was just a game. And then it came into reality, and like one day, like Surani, he's so intense, like he said, yo, we're write this song. And I was like, yeah. And he was always following up with us. Yo, like, let me tell you how intense Surani is. Like, I get a call 2:30 in the morning, Surani. Like, yo, what going on? All right? I find it, I find it. I find what? I find the song. I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm like, yo, now come up to the studio now. I'm like, it's 2:30. It's curfew.
Curfew?
Yeah. All right, me come to you. And I'm like, no. It's 2:30. In 6 hours, it will be morning, and I'll come link you. And you hear him say, all right, cool. All right, cool. And then, as I'm about to call Chad and give him the joke, say, oh, Rod is like, call me 2:30. I see a message coming, ping. And I said, oh, Surani, yo, bro, I know we're going to link up in a couple of hours, but go on pre this. And the guy will leave a voice note singing. Like, what's wrong with that? It's like he's always ready to work.
Yes,
like, there are times when we were like, skip. There's some of the flexes that we tip around Surani with, because the first one end up being
Is Craig watching this? Is he watching this right now?
Huh?
Is Craig watching this right now?
Yes, of course. He's not gonna miss this. The guy we'll be like, my doctors came, have some red stripe about for drink with a friend them, and we go around Surani meet, we leave town, and Chad said, PP, Surani call you? He say, yeah. I would say, him call you? He say, yeah, but I'm gonna answer. Chad said, what you tell him? I'm gonna say, yo, I'm gonna tell him something just a chill to him. Say, all right, cool. Now work with that. So come on, we couldn't want to work thing. Dude, like half an hour later, Chad is like, PB, check Surani Instagram. And I'm like, all right, cool, well, I look. I see this guy in him dropped up bends on hip strip. I like how this guy find me, you know it? This guy found us and drive from Kingston to Mobile to hang out with. I'm like, this guy, we can't shake him. But he's intense. And then at the end of the day, no matter how the party is, there's gonna be a song at the end, or there's gonna be work on the stand. So I have to big him up on his intensity. And as I said, Chad is a very astute individual, very quiet, but he's a genius of a brain. And I tell you, Duke is a beast. That's Draco, 100%.
Hey,
Draco, I love it.
All right, so Philip, what keeps you motivated?
Pretty much the same thing that keeps me waking up in the morning. What keeps me motivated? Honestly, I like traveling and I like going new places. So in order to afford to do that, I have to learn, you know what I mean? But as I said, I've gotten such a big jump start from my family being in Europe. So what keeps motivated? New events, creating something new. You know, I get bored very easily. Like, I mean, the PPSL project came out of sheer boredom. Like, so PPSL, it's really a promotional and merchandising company. We do a lot of branding on cups. All right, the Exodus bag, the Recipe for Carnival, that's me. Dream Cups, that's me. Sun Nation Cups, the Pepsi can, Pepsi and KFC, that's me. So I was doing it low key before COVID season because I know that the speed at which my life was going, I could not go all out in it because I didn't want to create a demand and then
right.
I I still have some outstanding invoices for people from last year. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten you. It's coming. I mean, at the time, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to take it on fully, you know. And like, you know, PJ would always put me on. PJ say, "Yo, XYZ say who did you cut them for Dream Sub?" And I would just take jobs like that. I would never market it. I didn't have a website, and I mean, it was turning over.
Yeah.
But I mean, how that came about, I got very close in terms of communication with one particular supplier in China who would supply me with stuff, and I would do what I'm doing. And then he was like, "Well, have you ever gone to Canton Fair?" And I'm like, "No." And he said, "Why you don't come?" And it was like next week, but he was joking. I was like, "What's there?" And he's like, "That's where all the merchandise, the traders are gonna." I was like, "All right, cool." And it was just after Carnival and right after Cayman Carnival. So I had a little lull period there. I was bored, so I just went. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Where was the show?
In Guangzhou.
Right. Just
So
next door.
I went and I met up with this guy, and the content show was good, but I got into a network in China that supplied the people that would sell on Alibaba. So that gave me to be able to carry goods here, landed competing with Alibaba, you know? So that gave me a pricing competitive edge. And like guys, like seriously, even though it's China, my thing's lit. Like, yeah, this is the diary. This is how we do it. You got any diaries, guys?
No, and I did not hear from her.
Did you get your diary, Catherine or Rochelle?
It's
No,
on
Those goals and stuff. I'm just
Yeah.
wondering.
I got put on to a network and a group of people that they're very good. And, you know, I was like, yo, why not just do this? And when I looked at my yearly income, I was like, yo, if I took this thing serious, it could really be a proper business.
Yeah.
So that's how I was dealing with it. I would do Exodus Carnival, I would do this if something come up, but I would never market it. And then COVID gave me the opportunity to structure that business. I hired a GM, that's my boy, General Hassani, because Hassani came on and like, Hassani was like, Philip, you know that with this mask, why we don't import masks? And I was like, yeah, I was thinking about that, but I see PJ doing something with masks and I don't want to compete with PJ and things. So I said, okay, that's not what I would do. You know what I mean? I was saying, no, let me call PJ. I said, PJ, I see you doing your mask and I have a good link with masks in China and all of that, but you know, I don't walk up. He said, no, man, PP, it need a mask for all. Mask for you, mask for me.
That's
For all.
just like PJ.
I would go, boom, 50,000 masks. Boom, 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 boom. Shut up. And I'm like, wait, this mask thing, not bad. So, you know, big up PJ. Like, I don't know if I honestly feel that PJ know what was happening behind this COVID shit. He behind this thing. Like, PJ was always ready, but he was 3 steps ahead. I'm like, I don't know if it's the large link or what, but he was on the inside. He was like ready. Like, big up yourself, PJ. I don't know enough time to tell you that. Big up. Really proud of you. And you're really inspiring to me, you know? So big up. So like we did the mask thing and then Hassan came up like it's like Philip, you know, like exercise equipment people going to be staying in. I'm like, what? It was like, yeah, man. And I'm like, all right, here what? For this project, even though you're the GM, if it goes well, I'll give you 25% of the profits. And they came in and they sell off, and I was like, how much I said again? I was like, I think it was, no, Philip, here's the WhatsApp. Like, you know, so that went off, and then we are reordering because Hassan was saying, like, yo, that's why you have to listen to people. Like, P, we should carry a container, like, weights. Like, I'm like, yo, I'm spending no money carrying a bag of weights, but and that's what people want. So we have a container coming in, we reorder gym stuff, and then that's what everything just start coming on, you know, all the cool items, and we have so much more to do in that regard. And this is why I say family is everything, you know. And when I say that, Trini family, boy, I love them. Damien Babilal, like Damon is over there, and Damon started Babylon Squared, and that is a collaboration with me and him. Me supplying things, sending to China, sending to Trinidad. I send masks to him, I sell there, I sell other items, and that is coming out of just like that's just business. That's things that's exploding. You know. He's that engineer, but he's in oil, and that kind of slowed down, and then he has all this time to put in. So we formed 2 new businesses out of just, being good friends and communicating and collaborating on different things. I mean, like Sun Nation in Trinidad, his team executes it for him. When he's doing black to blue here, although I'm busy, me have to go in and move 2 fence and get it. Yeah, it's a brotherhood and it's family, So there's that big business expansion coming out of that. So that has been how that came about, And then, wow, I mean, since January, since I've been empowered by the biscuit on the boat to be great, like I thought you could box me all this time and tell me something like, spend time behind it. So we're creating a website. I mean, things are up and going. Hassan is busy. And, and I mean, a lot of the time where I go hard and what you ask me what keeps me going and what motivates me, it's also living up to people's high expectations of me.
Yes.
Like Hassani could have worked at any company that would pay him 2 times the amount of what I'm paying him now. No, you so bust. But the perks are good. Anyway. So, but it chose with me, and I was saying to a friend, I think it was Daniel, Daniel who lives in Florida, I was like, Hassan is so loyal. And she's like, well, that too. But he's smart. He knows you're going to blow up into something huge, and he wants to be there for the fireworks. So, I feel like, I could do this day off. I'm like, shit. I have to be great for my team, you know what I mean? Nobody wants to work for a mediocre boss. Everybody wants to be a part of a great team. So that has what been pushing me, So that is one of the, I should answer one of the questions. That's one of my factors. I have to be great.
So you had a rough year, like many, but again, going through the several different businesses, you obviously knew at some point it was time to check out. How do you deal with disappointment, especially in the entertainment industry? Not everything works out the way that you want it to. COVID happened. How do you deal with disappointment?
Well, it's life. It happens, Like whenever I'm on a good roll, I'm like, oh, snap, something is coming. Life is too great. I'm like, something is coming. What is it gonna be? And I'm like, stop bothering around. The taxman is gonna kill you. The taxman come and be you. That was bad, but all right. They never sent me to the doghouse, and I'm like, what is it? COVID. I didn't see it coming. I didn't see COVID.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming. And so COVID came about. And to be honest, for the first 2 months, I couldn't do it. I was in shock. I did this Sun Nation Live for charity. And I mean, the virtual thing is so whack. The only reason I did it was for charity. I mean, I need people. I'm not voices in that, but I don't want to be watching people. Come on, man. Like, oh, God, I refuse to go into the virtual world. I need people. And to be honest, and this is where it's going to go into. As you know, I've been very quiet with topical issues. I don't go online and blast nobody and blast. No, don't really do that. And that's not me. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
And I mean, the context of everything is that COVID. I mean, yes, we're feeling it rough. We have caterers who haven't gotten jobs for almost a year. We have decorators. Like Adams messaged me today. And Adams have to be in Florida doing gigs. You know what I mean?
Really? He's here?
Yeah, he's not here. He's in Florida. And like,
sorry, I'm in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida. Okay, sorry. And then all my other drapers been checking on me, and I'm checking in on them. Yellow the barman, yellow turn farmer, like so many people have been displaced.
Yeah.
And we are really hurting. I mean, look at barcode, like that's a company that's just on zero right now, you know. The security company, like I'm sure they have seen a big doing. I'm sure security guards have been laid off, and like it's like you would feel that we're getting no respect, but you have to be patient sometimes, you know. And I'll give you the context. It's easy to blast the government, you know, but imagine how hard it is for you running your own home, your own family during COVID. Can you imagine what it is to be making a decision for the whole nation?
Yeah.
It's a big deal. You know, it's a big deal. There are two persons I don't envy: politicians and beauty pageant queens, or women in beauty pageants. With politicians, like you have people with tiny houses like having a problem with you. Like fix your house before you start cussing over it. You know what I mean? Your house is untidy, you know, and you cussing the government. Like what have you done for yourself? You know? And you have to come out of this mentality where you're just waiting for government to do things for yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah. And beauty queen. Like the people who are booing in the crowd if they mess up are ugly chicks, you know? You know, like I don't mean to call women ugly, but they're not attractive and they're saying boo. And I'm like, you couldn't even make the cut. Well, you're like jeering the contestant. And I'm like, I feel bad for them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, she never used the word right. I'm like, give the lady a break. I told you this could go. Too much. I don't know what ugly, but I did call some biscuit. But for real, when women go on a pageant, like that's a lot of pressure, you know what I mean? Yeah. And for people to be there laughing at them and they couldn't make the cut, I find that it's sad. But anyway, those are two persons that quietly I could never be a politician, you know, because how I do my thing, like to be honest, my thing was never always a power. My power is in the freedom to do whatever I want, whenever I want to do it. Mm-hmm. Being in a high office that would box me. Like, if I was in politics, like a lot of people I talk to now, some of y'all grimy, I wouldn't be talking to you. Like, but I talk to everybody, you know, I talk to the good guy, I talk to the grimy guy that tries to be the wise guy, and you try to show them a different way and you learn from them as well. And if you know these people, you can know when to identify another grimy person. I'm somebody that learn a lot. Like I'm not really in the streets, but I learn a lot from people, and I'm very good with people, and I understand people. I think a part of my gift is I learn to try to understand what is it you want in any conversation. So before I think what I want, I'm like, okay, why is Catherine having this meeting at CPJ with me? Okay, I want sponsorship. What does she want? And before I go in the meeting, I start thinking like Kathy. I'm like, what could I do to make Kathy go to the movies with whoever she's seeing versus working on a document? And I try to make her job easier. And that's one of the gifts I have. So I think I'm blessed in seeing things from other person's perspective.
Yes.
My own. Yeah. I don't know what question I was answering.
Appointment.
Yeah, you answered it. We're good, PB. We're good.
Yes.
So, Philip, it really has been a journey. I think that you carried us on this evening. I've always wanted to sit and talk to you because you've been a fascinating businessman. And you've said quite a few gems because I've been noting a lot of things that you've said. And one of the things you said is that you're immature and you're a late bloomer. And you put that in perspective. And then you said, the world is stopping and giving you an opportunity to be great. And you're worried about corporate. And I know that step on a lot of people's toes because a lot of times we are so worried about being corporate. And in business, because your approach is you are just you are Philip, and you bring Philip, the same Philip, to whatever situation. So you know who you are bringing. How has that been for you in business where people have this kind of way that, you know, in certain boardrooms, you should be dressed a particular way and you must sound a particular way and you laugh a particular way?
Are you related to the girl on the phone? You just look in my head. Here's like, That's why I don't run for. I hate formal meetings. Like noted. Don't say action. Noted. I'm a conversation over the phone kind of guy. Like I remember, like I call Nathan at Red Stripe and just lock up a deal just for him to support the video. And that was a 5-minute conversation. You know what I mean? We didn't have to go into a boardroom and I asked about his mother. Like, I don't really care to know about your mother, but it's a pleasant thing to say. You know, we don't have to bullshit. We just say, yo, what it is, bro? How can I make you look good? How you going to make me look good? And that's it. So I'm kind of like, I'm like real. You know what I mean? I'm going to make a presentation. I'm talking real. You know, if you can understand Patwa, I'm talking Patwa. You know what I mean? So I'm just keep it real. I mean, life is complicated, and I think even now in COVID, people realize that you have the potential. So life is like a clear puzzle. You can form it in whatever way you want. You know what I mean? And you can go hard. If I went through what I went through and I still came out looking good, shiny, like guys, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Keep pushing. And I know maybe you'll say, yeah, it's easier for you. You have a start already. But there was a point when I didn't have a start. You know what I mean? And and the thing is, what I'm doing now was just meant for me. It's easy. Yeah. It's like easy. And that's why I get comfortable sometimes, because it's easy. So 2021, I'm coming out my comfort zone. Biscuit from the boat. Great.
So, Philip, one of the things that I noted throughout the conversation is that you are so open. You keep saying that cheerleaders are so important, but you are such a cheerleader. Because as you're saying that, you are bigging up somebody else. Yeah, I have goose pimples actually thinking about it, because it's so powerful, your ability to recognize the greatness in others, but not in a very superficial way either, like in some integral ways, the way you understand the people that you work with and you recognize them. Where does that come from? Because sometimes we're not willing to big up the other guy and say, that guy, they're good.
Yeah.
Part of it also is, like, I think, if I must be real, part of it is human. When you're good, you'll big up somebody else that's good too, you know? You know what I mean? And even when somebody is great, I'm still big them up because, you know, it's admiring for me as well, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never really. The first thought I've ever had, and this is where I remember, like in 6th form when people were going extra, like back in them days, it was a privilege to get a car, you know what I mean? And drive to school, you know what I mean? I saw some of my peers have them car and I was bitter. I was so bitter. I was taking a bus, you know what I mean? And my friend then would have to pick me up at the yard, you know, big up Neil Pasley, big up Muriel, big up Colin Barnes. They would pick me up. I'll be like, why I can't get my car? And it's like something just came into myself and said, yo, be happy for your friends.
Wow.
And everything I've thought about, I say, yo, and I see somebody with it, I say, yo, I don't know when I'm going to get that. I've always got it. And that's because I've always been happy for the person.
Yeah. And
from that early age, I've learned to let go. And like in 2 years' time, I'm on a Boston, start, you know, being myself. I should have Boston, you know what I mean? Yeah? And that's how it's been. I'm like, yo, when am I going to travel to those places? I get there. Yo, when am I get there, you know? I remember seeing Ibiza, like, I'm like, yo. And I'll tell you, I remember seeing Brett Wong and Stephen Price in Ibiza. I'm like, Jesus, I could have go. And I was like, yo, Stephen, that looked lit, you know what I mean? And I wasn't preying them and all of that. And by the next year, like, oh, yeah. Listen, if I go to Ibiza, San Antonio, Boston, like, people know me there, you know? It's like 7 years, you know what I mean? And I'm like, you remember when you used to say you wish you could go there? And I've found that I've just been happy for people and enjoy their happiness. And things just work out for me. So I guess that's a reason why I've always been in a little way nonchalant as well, because it always ends well. Yes. Yeah. So I guess that's where it comes from. And because of that, I've been kind of chill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I realized that, like everybody, like in traveling gives you perspective.
Mhm.
I've been around like chill people that are like millionaires, like in Europe, and they are so chill. I'm like, yo, it's a bit chill. You know what I mean? Like so chill. Like, I mean, everybody goes through problems. I'm around them and I see that they have problems just like us. Sometimes their problems are even much bigger than ours. You know? And I realize everybody have problems. I'm like, yo, be easy, you know what I mean? Be easy.
Yeah. Philip Burgess says, I saw PP after years in an airport in Florida a few years ago, fellow Wolmerian. And it's like we linked yesterday, always vibes. Man never make you feel like a stranger star. Good youth.
Yo, big up Burgess, Chelsea for life. Yeah, man. I mean, real people, like, I mean, there are a lot of people, and that's what COVID, there are a lot of people I would have just seen and heal and all of them things there. And this period get me a time to got me an opportunity to really learn from people. And listen, I've learned so much from my friends. Like, oh, another thing, therapy is good. For the first time in my life in COVID, I went to therapy. And just like you go to gym, people, when you work on your body and your body is highly active, so you have to keep it fit. When you have a high functioning brain, it just makes sense. You have to exercise. And therapy is good. And I got 3 sessions in before the first strategy. And I'm so happy that I did therapy that I could manage. You know what I mean? So that is something that you should always. So, like the majority of therapists, they work in madhouse. They work for rich corporations, 100% law firms. So talk to somebody, you know, it's healthy.
You know, PP, I'm so happy you said that because therapy is still something that's very taboo, I think, here in Jamaica. I mean, just mental wellness in general. And I feel that there is a stigma associated with therapy. So people feel ashamed or they don't even want to try because of what people think. As you said, that is, it's madhouse and only, people at Bellevue need therapy. So for someone like you to say that, on this platform, I think, it's very, very important, especially in this time of COVID. So people are dealing with mental issues right now and don't know where to go or are afraid to talk to somebody or, go to a professional.
Yeah, and I just want to say real quick, if you don't want to go to somebody in person, especially now there's so many virtual outlets. Because like you, Philip, I went to therapy during COVID and I found a website called betterhelp.com, and it is so intricate that it asks you down to what type of therapist do you want? What are the things that you are aligned with, whether you want a therapist that's a Christian, if you're a Christian, and so help is everywhere and it's not too expensive. People think that going to a therapist is expensive. It is not. There are therapists that you can find as a resource anywhere.
Yeah. But I love how you put it though, in the same way that we put a lot of effort to take care of the physical self, especially too, and persons with high functioning brains actually sometimes think they're so high functioning that they'll just have to figure it out.
Easy for something to go around. Easy.
Just like that. Just like that. So Nai, I know you have some other questions because I'll take with PP.
Yes. So
wait, hold on, PP was saying something else.
I learned so much also from my friends. Like, you know what I learned? And it came from therapy. She said, Philip, you're always the life of the party. You're always the man in the middle. Take some time to just kick back and observe and chill and see what's happening. And there are occasions that I got on and I did it, and it was so different. Like it was a whole new world.
Yeah.
When I was quiet, I was observing. I was okay. That this person's that, and I was picking up the energies more and say, oh, that person, and that I was looking at this person. And I was just picking up these things, and then I was saying, somebody like Chad who doesn't talk, like this guy is supposed to be brilliant, like. You understand? Like, think about it. Somebody that's sitting down, quiet, for 2 hours while you're talking. You think they're sitting down there with their head empty? No! You're like gathering so much information. And I'm like, yeah, I need to talk more and observe. So that's what I learned
Yeah.
also from my friends.
We need to listen more. That's what we need.
Hold on.
Observe.
You need to observe.
Observe. Yeah.
Listen, you need to observe and learn.
So PP.
Yeah.
So I know there was, I know people still call it that, but Euro PP is a thing, right? And you are a brand. I remember, I'm trying to remember how Euro PP started, but because PP is a travel and still travels to Europe, his clothing would be definitely very different from anything that anybody else is wearing.
Yeah,
I think PP is one of the first men I saw in Jamaica to wear, like those shorter swim trunks, the European style,
Yes.
in bright colors.
and
And I feel like that's when the name started, because that was clearly a European thing. And we're like, oh, so this is European. Cool.
Yeah.
I'll go into that part, but I'll tell you where the fashion if you want to talk.
Yeah, we have to talk about the fashion, because what I'm getting at is that you are a brand.
Yes.
And I'll tell you that came from an early lesson. Like as I told you, my brother and the rest of the family moved to Europe early in Vienna. And I remember like when I was 17, 18, I started going up there and I stopped going museum, a time to move to the road. And I'm like coming from Jamaica, stopping Miami. I've been shopping in Miami to go to Europe. Like, literally. And I'm there and I'm a nice guest, bright red and blue plaid shirt and a wide leg jeans. I'm a shell to Adidas. And I'm popping because that's what popping here in the States.
Right.
So I'm like, I see this party going on and everybody in the party looking hot. There's a long line. I realized everybody was kind of in black. Like, these Europeans, wasn't with this one, all black female, it wasn't. But let's love wear black, wear white. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, lame. So I'm walking up and like everybody say, you're going in? And I said, oh, you're in the line? And they said, no, we can't get in. And I said, why? I said, I don't know if they let us in. I'm like, okay. And I'm peeping my
You're PP.
I'm like, yo, and I'm so loud. And I'm in the line, and I'm like, when I'm walking in the line, I would see some side eyes, but you know me already thinking positive. I'm like, yes, then more the black pearl. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I'm from Miami, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, so I'm like, I'm coming fresh from Jamaica. Well, depending on what they ask me, I tell them I'm from Miami. They say, you know Jamaica? No. I say, I'm from Miami. You know Jamaica? Yeah. You know about Mali? Yeah. I'm from Jamaica. So, I think like, I'm not kidding. By the time I was the third person to go into the club, I saw somebody come around and snake around and say, excuse me, sir, do you have an invitation? I'm like, no. I said, well, I'm sorry, you need an invitation. And then mom said, all right, cool. And I'm walking back. I've seen no invitations that anybody has. I've never made a cut. I never look right. I was like outstanding. You know what I mean?
What is this?
And then the next night, I was like, yo, I'm in Europe and my mother not here. Me on the road, you know what I mean? And the next time I wore a suit. I was coming from my sister's wedding, actually. And I was in my suit from the wedding. And I saw a line for this big club and I saw some guys outside and say, you going inside? And I said, well, they're very picky, but you will get in. And I'm like, yeah? And they said, bro, you're macking. And I wore a suit inside the club and I got it in. From that day, wow. Always have to look proper. And I'm going to tell you, keep it real. People don't know you. So when they look at you, it's what you present to them.
Absolutely.
And then you realize what, and you're like, see the flight attendant not being as nice to you as to the person beside you. Maybe you're not really dressed right. Maybe you're not presenting yourself right. And it's not about brand. I don't own a Gucci bag. Okay? I don't. It's about how you carry yourself.
Yeah, somebody said it would have been Armani.
And how you want people to accept you, so you have to present yourself. Nobody have time, especially now, to try and figure out your heart if you're a good person. No, you have to dress like a good person. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I
So,
love that. I love that, Philip.
Yeah, I see from that hymn sheet because I'm just like, people can't look in your brain and know what you're thinking.
Right.
like,
But
they don't know the
then,
heart, like, oh, this is a real good guy. I can see it in her heart. No,
Yeah.
the lame sweater is blocking your heart. They can't see it.
I'm dying.
Yeah, so again, especially as black people, as island, as people from the island, like I think we carry ourselves very good. You know,
Yes,
and
we do. And Jamaican people, we are always ready.
Yeah.
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 Going back to Ibiza and Europe, yeah, that's definitely where I got that style from. You know me good?
Sorry, guys. My teenager just came in here.
Okay.
PP, here's what I love, right? I love the fact that you took that from that European experience and you brought it back right here and you don't care. You just do your thing.
I remember
You
that.
just do your thing.
Like before that, everybody was wearing capris. Like, you know, capris. It's between your knee and your ankle.
Yeah.
So cool. I come back from Jamaica and like I'm there and I'm like I come back from Europe and like everybody is wearing shorts above the knee. I'm like, oh, PP the batty rider shorts. I'm like, guys, I'm giving you a year. Everybody curl up and say, yeah. I think time, like the next thing that I remember, like it was the long t-shirts that were in. You know, you wear
PP, I remember your long t-shirt for sure.
Yeah, everybody wear long t-shirts. So from that is when I got confidence because I'm like, yeah, what you other go on?
Yeah, you're just late, guys. You're just late.
Yeah, now
I
you're
remember something came out online and people were talking about this, whatever it was, and I was like, PP soon get one.
No, I never had. What was it? The 2-in-1, the ones. What was that?
It was the onesie. It was the onesie. It was the onesie.
It was the one. No, I didn't. Never. You will never find me in a room. Let me tell you something. To use the bathroom in a rumper, yeah,
it's an awful thing.
Like,
You have to pull off everything, the whole thing,
never.
to use the bathroom.
That has never happened with me. That was good. I was like, you know what? Next one. Next. But yeah, people voted that out to the first one. Nah.
But I love that
the lame sweater blocking your heart is killing me.
Really, yeah. A lame sweater blocking your heart.
I can't get it out of my head.
But what I love, I really have to respect the fact that you really just do you, PP, and that's why you are who you are. That's why people know you, even if they don't know you, they know who you are. That's for sure. And I think that's.
Let me tell you something. What drives me. Do you know that people will live and don't know what the feeling is like to be the best dressed person in a room? Do you know what it feels? You know it feels when I walk into a London spot and I say, I know I'm the best dressed person there. And you create a presence out of that. Like some people live a lifetime and not know what it is to be like, to be the best dressed person in the room. And it gives you confidence, believe me. Yeah. Like, again, I have friends in London and I know some of them watching now, they said they were gonna log on. And like they don't go to a club unless I'm in London because they know they're going to get teeny for them. You know what I mean? And it's about how you present yourself. You know what I mean? So,
you know, PP, there is Marianne Williamson has this poem that she wrote, and you know, as I'm listening to you, because what it says in there is that when we small up ourselves, we're actually not doing any justice to anybody. And in fact, when we're able to step out and be great, we're giving permission to others to do the same. And I think it's very powerful, as much as you do it with comedy, because I think we do need to be able to laugh about ourselves. There's something powerful in your ability to say, I'm PP. I'm gonna be that best dressed guy, and I'm not making any apology for it. Why don't you try it too?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I have to applaud you for that. That's awesome.
And you're gonna wear your hats. You know, I love that. Love the hats.
And sometimes I just weird things to say. All right, what you going to make everybody in the room stop now? And I say, what is you wearing? I say, ah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, but
PP,
it's all fun. Life is fun.
this was really, really awesome. I mean, we're gonna go into our best advice segment now before we wrap up. But I mean,
Before I leave entertainment, and when you're talking about picking up somebody and you're talking about emerging, spoke to me about Duke, right? Listen, Tosh Alexander,
That's my
my
boo.
different MTD. She's gonna emerge 2021, 100%.
Yes.
love Tosh.
It's Tosh here. Watch out for, watch out for, watch out for. Like she's one of the persons. Like we're always cool, but you know, as we start hang out 2 times. Hey, it's very dope, you know. Like, and she's drawn a different gear this year. And
Awesome.
actually, she showed me a video that she has coming out, and I'm actually excited. Tosh is emerging this year, 2021.
I love that. I love that. Tosh is emerging this year. We're here for it, Tosh.
All right. So, best advice. Philip, you know our best advice segment. We want you to tell us the best advice that you've either gotten or given about different areas. So, best advice about love.
Don't. Somebody said this to me the other day. I think it's banter. And it's not really about love, it's about marriage. He says, don't picture in choosing a partner, don't picture how the marriage is gonna be, picture what the divorce will be like. And if you can't manage that person at the divorce, don't get married to them.
Wow.
Oh, no, and it goes because if I divorced some of my exes, it would have been rough. Right? But me and all of my ex them good. Marry because of it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Best advice about money.
Oh, earn a lot because you're gonna spend a lot. Like I think Scott was like P. Like we've got to earn because I can't tell you that I'm gonna save a lot. So we gotta earn. We gotta earn, you know.
I love that. Earn a lot because you're gonna spend a lot. All right. So the best advice that you have received or that you would give about life.
Funny, I didn't. This is something that in my COVID I turned up semi-philosopher to myself, and this is something that a concept that I thought of, and sometimes real. Like, and it's something that I've practiced also coming out of the therapy session. The therapist didn't even tell me this, but have you ever thought about it? Whatever comes out your mouth, sometimes you say things and you think it's going in a neutral atmosphere and environment. Like whatever comes out your mouth either helps you or hurts you. It doesn't float around naturally.
Wow.
In a stable equilibrium or in a balanced atmosphere. So what I do now, before I open, I think and I say, if I'm gonna tell Kathy XYZ, is this helping me or is this hurting me? And if I can't decipher if it helps or it hurts, I don't say anything.
Wow, that's very, very personal.
Yeah. Is it gonna help me or hurt me?
Yeah. Before you utter.
Open your mouth.
Before you open. I'll give you another one. Normally, this is how life becomes easy.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, the hardest thing to do is always the right thing to do. The wrong thing to do is always easy.
Okay.
And the more you do the right things, is the more you keep doing the harder things, and the more you do harder things,
The easier it becomes.
easier.
Yes.
When harder things begin to get easier, life becomes easier. So always do harder.
Excellent. Excellent advice.
So easy, to the vex with Kathy, and you just go on like you just see her, where you just run upon her and say, "Hey, Kathy, what's up? We're good. What's going on?" And I don't want to do that.
All right.
That's true.
What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
20-year-old self. What would I have given? Obviously, I wish I knew then what I knew now. You know, I wish I was more confident at 20. You know what I mean? I wish I understood myself more. There's no great advice really, but I just wish I knew what I knew now.
Yeah.
I envy Asani. He's gonna be a star.
Surely.
I'm not even like what 24, 25, but he's more mature than me.
Yes.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy. And I like Hassan is too mature for his peers. I think he hangs around them to support them. You know, just to support. I'll hang with you guys, but he's so advanced. I wish I was Hassan.
Wow, Hassani, are you hearing me?
So earlier you talked a lot about the importance of family and your friends that have become your family and your support system. What's the best advice that you have about relationships?
Relationships, be yourself. It goes back to the point.
Yes.
When somebody finds you for who you are, life is so easy. And be honest. Be honest not only to your partner, be honest to yourself. There are a lot of cowards out there, and they're in marriages and have family, but they are unhappy. You know why? Because they were cowards. They were afraid of being alone. So they got married and they have kids for security and companionship, but they're miserable.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
That's excellent.
PP. Wow.
Yeah, you didn't know it was this deep, did you?
Wow, PP, this has been when we were backstage earlier, you're like, how long is the show? Is it it's an hour? And technically it is an hour, but we could have just gone on and on. And as I said earlier, I've always wanted to sit and hear from PP, and it has not been a disappointment. I've been very quiet today because just listening to you, but also you said be yourself because people can sniff fake.
Oh Lord.
No,
especially now. Oh Lord.
Especially no.
And that's not covering nothing. Like, like people just are more observant. They have to think on themselves. What's the vibe? Like when life is going fast, you're not thinking what's the vibe.
No.
What's the vibe? What's going on with Naomi? Like people are looking so much and they're looking and real is like we're all watching the same movies and reading the same book. We think alike, most of us. Like let's keep it real, you know? And let's be real. Like, I mean, if somebody love you for who you are, life is so easy. You know what I mean?
Love it.
And I know PP, a lot of people who have been following you online and stuff, they're like, they might have to look back on your picture them because them is like, what me know we are youth, yeah?
Yeah.
And you know, earlier, because it is so important to talk about that too, that the online self that we present is not, it's a curated version of ourselves.
Yeah, like IG for me is entertainment. And to be honest, it's my job to keep people happy. And I don't post conspiracy theories, I don't post any negative. I just post people enjoying themselves. That's what it should be about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know what I had to do, and I realized there was this girl I met, a Negro, and I realized I have to do something about that Instagram. And she's like, dude, I had no idea that like you did all these things. Like I thought you were a pimp.
A pimp? PIMP?
Like always around girls, you were spending money. Like you actually do these things. I'm like, okay, let me cut down. Like, and now I think she's even watching this. She's like, no, like I saw she came down for an event that was here the other day sometime, and then we met in Miami, and we like she was here, and I didn't speak to her, and then we were talking on the boat, and she was like, dude, I didn't know this side of you. I didn't know that. Like, yo, is that just flashy and have these girls around here? Like, yeah, I thought you were some undercover pimp. Like,
Oh my God.
but yeah,
You have to be careful on boats though.
it's no fun. I like how it is.
Be careful on boats though, PP, because you had somebody look into your soul on a boat.
And then someone accused you of being the pimp.
Right away.
I thought you were a pimp. I'm like, a pimp. Yeah, I'm like, okay. I'm going to stop reading them handkerchiefs around my neck. Maybe that's the look. Maybe that's okay. No, but on a whole, yeah, I mean, yeah, on a serious note, and IG is entertainment for me. I don't pose anything too serious. I think people, they take it too, like, yo, like, make sure you're cool with the generation coming in. They're going to be savages. Yeah, you have to understand that. You have savages. Be cool with them, okay? like seriously, there's a different world coming. There's a different world coming, you know? So that's important as well. And this is why I like to hang with young people. You have to understand.
You need to know what's in the know. You need to know what's happening.
It's their world now. It's their world. You have to get with it. You have to get with it.
Find you, Philip.
Say again? Oh, that's
Everybody's asking where they can find you because they want to go and follow you now.
like,
Kenny says, looking at pimp, it has 2 P's. Just like
Side by side.
guys,
Not side by side.
don't take me serious on Instagram. Instagram is just sometimes
guys, hear that.
no.
Instagram is curated
No business.
content. People give you a snapshot of their lives and what they want you to see.
Yeah.
It's not everything.
Yeah.
I have a great life though. I know you.
Yeah, that we know. That we know, sir.
Just so that you know, he's not
that.
creating a life.
Right. It is his life. It is his life. This is the life of people.
Naomi.
Yes.
Don't support your greatness. Let's write a book. You're gonna write a book for me.
I'm gonna write a book.
Yeah, for me.
You know she has 3.
No
right?
problem.
You know she has
I'm
3.
ready.
Autobiography.
I'm ready. I'm here for it.
Like, this is something that people have been telling me. I'm like, I don't know. But I'm very interested in that.
You heard it. You heard it here first, folks.
Say again?
I'm saying you heard it here first.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Loretta says this has been an exhilarating session. Authenticity is key. And
First of all, Loretta is in London, okay?
London, peeps. Wow. I love London. London is the capital of the world, man. I love London.
Guys, what I would love to know, I mean, I know we all enjoyed this conversation, and as we're about to wrap up, I'd love to just know in the chat, if you enjoyed this, let us know in the chat. Let us know if you have any words for PP before we log off so he can see it. I mean, I've been just seeing content and comments strolling through like throughout the entire conversation. So it's really, I mean, it has been an entertaining and an informative and
very
I mean, it really definitely gave us, even us, your friends, a different look into the man behind the brand. So, you know,
I just saw somebody, Marcia Knight. I don't know if you've meeting Marcia, but she likes and comments on. Listen, Marcia Knight, she's one of my biggest supporters, my biggest cheerleader on Instagram. Like, everything I do is great. Fire, love, voice. I'm like, woman.
Today, Marcia said that you were late, and we had to tell her no, you were very early.
In person.
Big up Mr. PP from your
big up my family, big up Richard G. Yeah, man.
You went to class, you know you're old, right?
Dude, I wanted to blast him a while ago. I was like,
I know. Who said cast? Like,
hold on. My first year, it was cast. The second year,
it was you think?
The transition.
Okay. I see your crew online too. I see Kevin Henry. Big up PP, the guru.
Big up my brethren, Kevin, the boss. Yeah.
This has been really, really awesome.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and thanks for having me, and thanks for dragging me out of a little shell, you know.
Yeah, and thank you for being so vulnerable and so open with us. I mean, we all had to try and keep it together as you were sharing earlier, because we definitely didn't expect that.
Yeah.
But we are honored that you chose to share that here in this space with us, with our audience.
Thanks for having me, guys. And thanks for being gangster, because this could have gone away. I think you have a season 4 coming around. Don't worry. Well, I told you it would end well.
First of all, I just saw that post from Camille Court. No, I've never seen Camille comment on any of our Emerge shows ever. Hi, Cams.
Hi, Camille.
By the way, I think Camille claims she's good at Ludo, right? Ludo.
Camille is good at a lot of things.
Yeah, we have games to play. There's something back in the day she was bragging on. When you're ready, set up a little game. Let me show you.
Dominoes.
And I haven't seen Nikisha in such a long time. Nikisha Booth. Nikisha, you need to go back into fashion. That's the boss. That's
Yes.
I agree. PP, say it again. I agree 100%.
Nikisha, if you go back in, Nikisha, I go back in.
Wait.
And start the back fashion, I'll go back with you 100%. And we can work together.
Camille says dominoes. She has set up a game, PP.
Yeah. Yeah, she had Scott Camp party. That's where she's great.
Wow, it has been almost 2 hours. Thank you, Philip.
All right. Thank you guys for having me. Yeah. All right. Thank
It was
you.
wonderful.
We love you.
Everybody, keep cheering for us. And let me tell you, somewhere in Jamaica, this song is for you all. This is showcasing Jamaica real way. You realize that I'm real now. When you're going to see a music video and you're going to hear a song that is real AF. All right?
We love it. Thanks, Fifi.
All right.
Guys,
That was wonderful.
so I know people are going to start logging off now. So, guys, we're here every single Wednesday at 8:00 p.m. You can follow us on at Ready to Emerge on Instagram so that you can know who's going to be the guest for each week. We always have some exciting content, and it's always some amazing emerging conversations with people that you see every day, but you actually don't really know their stories. We're so grateful for PP, Philip, to share this space with us and to, just really touch on some very important things, key messages, and to share his journey with us, a lot of things we didn't know. And he was just very open, very vulnerable, very willing to share his knowledge and to share his story with us. So we're really happy that he was able to join us tonight.
So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, share, follow us on Instagram, all our platforms at Ready to Emerge. On Saturday at 10 a.m., we're going to be having our first workshop. It's
for the year.
First workshop
For the year.
Sorry, I apologize. The first workshop for 2021, reclaiming your 2020 and emerging in 2021. Thank you to Sagicor for making it 100% discounted to everybody. We close registration at midnight tonight because we're actually already oversubscribed. But we're closing registration at midnight tonight because Rochelle begged for all of you. So please follow, go to any of our social media platforms and sign up, register. Please take the time to answer the questions because it helps us to help you in a better way. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you next week, Wednesday at 8:00. Have a wonderful evening.
Bye, guys.